A brave mother and her mind and a robot clash against people who use them for wrong. In the near future, the sea level rises due to rapid climate change, and humans decide to relocate to space. After successfully building shelters between Earth and the Moon's orbital planes, they spend decades migrating citizens to the 80 or so shelters. As the humans settle down, shelter number 8, 12, and 13 declare themselves the Adrian Republic, and they begin attacking Earth and other shelters indiscriminately. This leads to war between the Allied force and Adrian Republic. Humans on Earth live in a miserable condition, producing munitions to save themselves. The story begins with a group of evil robots killing other robots and humans. A brave armed girl named Captain Jung manages to destroy the evil robots. She gets a call from the headquarters, asking if her team managed to reach near the rod. She replies that the situation seems pretty bleak. Just then, explosions start. A new robot named Zimbo from the Adrian Republic has been sent. Jung is asked to attack on the rear part of the robot to destroy it. The robot keeps attacking her, but she is unable to destroy it in any circumstance. Rather, she is caught, and it is revealed that she is actually a robot. A group of scientists come to check her, thinking there must be some kind of mistake, since she always stops at a certain part. They leave after some thought for a meeting. They take Jung with them, and we can see that many such robots are being made in the huge lab. The team of scientists go to meet the lab director of the company Kronoid, named Kim Sung-hoon. In the meeting, invited officers are being shown a presentation on the latest developments of the company, namely the robot Jung. We also get to know about Captain Jung-i, who was a Squadron Leader 8 Team 45. She partook in many missions against the Adrian Republic with great results. However, she joined the bombing operation of a fuel rod in Adrian's shelter B-25, but the mission was a failure, and she ended up in a coma. With permission from her family, the company Kronoid copied her brain into data with all her tactical knowledge and combat skills to develop the greatest AI to command combat. The program is named Jung-i. The daughter of the captain, Dr. Seo-hyun, is the chief who is leading the team on the project. Seo-hyun briefs the whole plan to the officers, but they seem rather indifferent since Jung was unable to complete her final mission, which could have ended the war, and many people still think that Jung is the reason why the civil war is still going on. The chief assures that the combat AI will definitely escape the simulation and will be remembered as a great soldier. It is also revealed that the idea of combat AI based on Jung was actually suggested by the chairman of the company. Captain Jung is still alive. With her brain activated, she can communicate with others. She is distraught looking at her body separated and her being connected to machines instead. After trying hard to communicate and no good response from Jung, the robot number 17 is terminated after they take out her brain. Chief narrates a story about her mother to a new co-worker. When she was young, she had a tumor in her lungs, and the only way her mother could afford her surgery was to become a mercenary. She wishes to ask whether her mother ever resented her for being the reason she had to join the war. While the chief goes out to the city, she comes across a mother and her daughter sharing an emotional moment, and falls deep into the thoughts of her sharing the final moments with her mother before she went for the final mission. The scene shifts to a doctor's lab explaining the chief that cancerous cells are spreading throughout the body from the previously affected part. Surgery is impossible. 3 months at most are left for her, so the doctor suggests her to copy her brain's data and use a prosthetic body instead. If she unable to afford the type A, she can always go for type B, which will limit equal human rights and other facilities, while the brain data will be signed to be under government agencies. Or she can again go for type C, for which she will not be considered a human anymore. Also, her brain data can be sold out and bought by anyone. The doctor reveals that her mother, Captain Jung, was also administered to use the type C under the company Kronoid, since it costs nothing. The chief says she will think about it. She wishes to meet her mother, who is at the facility. The scene shifts to the past, where a consent form has been presented before Captain Jung's mother to sign her up for Type C in return of benefits for her daughter and her granddaughter. She agrees and gives access to the company. Back to the present day, the chief is here to visit her mother. Back in the lab, the replicated brain is being attached to robot number 18 for tests. The simulation test begins with a little different way. This time her will to fight was gradually decreasing, but suddenly, an unidentified area in her brain lights up and starts fighting vigorously. The simulation ends pretty quickly. However, the director figures out that the unidentified area might be the key to build strong combat AIs. The next day, the team is supposed to brief at the headquarters. They get to know that the chairman won't be coming. Instead, the managing director Lee Si-yeon will be attending the presentation on his behalf. She is also the head of product development. Later, the chairman visits the lab. He says that weapon development has almost stopped since the Allied forces in the Adrian Republic came to a treaty that would soon stop the Civil War. Even munitions developing companies are making thermoses now. He basically says that combat eyes are nonsense at this point. Instead, they will have to develop housekeeper or service AIs now, so he wants to put an end to the project. Brain replication projects was initially started by him, and his first ever project was Director Kim himself. However, these are just replicas and can never be as same as the original. The chief asks him to let her complete her mother's project, but he denies. Instead, he asks her to switch over to Android AI soon. She is distraught, yet has no other option, so she leaves quietly. Director Kim, on the other hand, keeps doing the tests and hesitates to wrap up the project. He goes on for another test by awakening her brain. Her cuts off her body parts to check if the unidentified area will light up again. Suddenly her brain stops, since the chief becomes the administrator and stops the application. Director Kim threatens her, but stops when the chairman asks him to meet at the headquarters. The chief orders the other team members to send all the data to her and wrap up the combat AI project. She then goes to the simulation test room and notices that all the data has been exported to Jae-kyung, the newbie team member. She goes near him to question about the data and instead finds a nude doll version of her mother showing Jae-kyung's ugly sexual obsession with her mother. She threatens him to tell the truth, and he says that the headquarters is producing a new product and he was just testing it. Since she was really popular wartime hero, they thought it would be a high-value idea for sexual use. And since Captain Jung's body was signed for Type C, anyone could use her data and body for any purpose. Heartbroken, the chief leaves. She then goes on to the lab, where Director Kim is lying sad, because the headquarters decided to wrap up the combat AI project. The chief decides to talk with her mother, so she goes on to the lab where the robot Jung is kept. She activates her brain and says that she will soon die, so she should get ready. Just when the chief is about to end the program, the unidentified area lights up, and Captain Jung asks if her daughter's surgery went well. Captain Jung feels relieved when she knows it went well. They share a very emotional moment when they talk about a doll that the chief gave her when she was going for surgery. Captain Jung tells her that she lost it on the move. The truth is, just when she got a hold of it, that she lost it and the enemy robot hit her. The robot brain deactivates just then, and the chief cries her heart out. The next day, last simulation test begins. The chief deletes the unidentified area data. She whispers in Captain Jung's ear everything that has happened in reality. The scene shifts to the lab where they are testing the robotic Jung again. The simulation starts. Director Kim has no interest this time, and in fact the results come out the same. She fails to escape the simulation. But this time the robotic Captain Jung is pretty awake. Director Kim, on the other hand, suspects that there is something wrong with the robot. After replaying the final moments of the test, he figures out that the robot wasn't even hit by the bullet. He orders to activate the emergency alarm. Right after the robotic Jung escapes, Director Kim also orders to launch the combat AIs. On the other hand, the chief deletes all the original data of Captain Jung from the system. Captain Jung comes across the many other replicated robots and hides between them when the combat AI come to search for her. An intense fight starts between the robots, and just when Captain Jung was about to get defeated, the chief comes in time to protect her. Other robots barge in and manage to kill Captain Jung and retrieve the chief. A robot takes in the CCTV data and learns that Captain Jung's brain was inserted into another robot, which is free at the moment. On the other hand, the chief and Captain Jung escape on a train, but to their surprise, Director Kim is hiding in the train. A fight starts between the robot Jung and Director Kim. Other robots catch up to them, and an intense fight begins. The robot Jung and the chief manage to outsmart and destroy all the people. The chief is severely injured, so she asks the robot Jung to escape. The robot caresses her on the cheek, just like her real mother used to do, and leaves. And the story ends here.